Situations and conversations with Renee. Real situations, real conversations. Empowering the community leads to elevation. Entertainment and education, no better time than now. Pure enlightenment for the crowd. This is Situations and Conversations with Renee.
Today on Situations and Conversations, they say it's never too late to chase a dream. But what does it really take to start over when the world says you're supposed to be winding down? My girl Heidi B is here to share her situation about how she defied expectations, challenged fear, and chose reinvention over routine with a bold leap into new careers. Not in her 20s, not in her 30s, but later in life, when most people are told to settle in and not shake things up. Well, buckle up, buttercups. The conversation starts now. Heidi B, back again. You know how much fun it is having you on the show.
Oh my God, I love being here. I'm so excited. It has been a minute, but we are back.
Yes, we are. But let's talk about this career change because you've been on the show in a different capacity for a number of different times.
I know.
So still total relationship expert as far as I'm concerned.
Thank you.
But you moved into a whole new career at a later stage in life, which is something that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting. I mean, when I reflect on the journey that I've had throughout my career over the last even 5-10 years, there has just been so many ups and downs, such a roller coaster. And at the end of the day, it has been stressful during seasons of it have been stressful, but I've always landed on my feet. And so I feel like there is an important message to share here about being able to navigate career change your mind, try something different, and land on your feet.
At any age.
At any age.
Because, let's face it. We're not golden girls, but we're not, teens anymore, right?
It's true.
We're not super young. And so a lot of people feel like, oh, you're supposed to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life and stick to it. And that's it. But you're like, no, maybe not.
I think you bring up two good points, which is that the first thing is that the economy has changed. The way that we are employed has changed, especially in the last 10, 12 years. There are so many ways that you can make a living, so many ways that you can pay your bills, so many ways that you can check your boxes, that it's there are a lot of new opportunities or different opportunities out there that just didn't exist 10 years ago. So in the first place, it's there are so many, of course, it's natural to be curious. Do I need to sit at this desk for the rest of my life? Do I need to be answering these phones this way for the do I need to be doing this type of work that I've been doing for 5-10 years for the rest of my life? And the other piece that's so important is that every choice, every move that we make through the career cycle is based on your own personal risk tolerance. So, what makes sense for me might not make sense for you. What makes sense for you might not make sense for me. And so it's important that we all get really honest with ourselves about how much risk we can tolerate, what we're willing to kind of risk and to try something different.
Right. Well, let's talk about you then for a quick minute. Let's talk about all your different career paths. Because when we met, you had a podcast, right? But what else were you? Because we've known each other for, what is this, going on at least about 8 years now.
I know. When we met, I was working at the city of Portland, actually, in a very standard 9 to 5, 7, clock in, clock out, cubicle type of job. I was running a podcast with a best friend of mine at the time, and we were doing that on the nights and weekends. And then we just started kind of doing stuff on the side to see, could we monetize? Did it make sense to do some press? How hard was it to do press? Could we do a podcast tour? All that. We just started experimenting with what that would look like.
Okay.
And eventually what happened for me is that I decided I want to try to make this we weren't quite, 8 years ago, we weren't quite calling it content creation, but I was I think I want to try giving, creating this stuff a shot. So I personally had a good amount of savings to sit with, and I was I am going to give my notice to this job at the city. And what I tell you, that the people at the city were what? If you worked here for another 13 years, you would have a pension. You had
Exactly. They probably looked at you like you were crazy.
They did.
You'd be set up for life.
They did. And I was willing to take that risk, and part of what happened for me is I really felt if I can navigate this job transition, this career transition with a little bit of grace and dignity, give the right amount of notice, not burn any bridges, that kind of stuff, I can always come back here.
Right. See, and we had this as a topic on the show, I don't know, last season or the season before, about how do you best give your notice? Do you just up and quit? And you're no. Clearly you're a fan of let's not do that and burn any potential bridges because we never know what we may want to come back to while we're trying something else.
Yeah.
But something else I'm hearing is, you have to have some time.
Yes.
to dedicate to trying something new. And B, you need to have some financial resources in order to really fully pursue. So let's talk about that. So here you are, the city employee. You put in your resignation, and then what?
Well, and then I spent about 2 or 3 years really, and I will also say one of the reasons I was able to do this is I am happily married to I have a partner who works at the county who earns a living for us that way. And, so there is privilege to my experience in terms of being partnered and having somebody that was on board with me taking this time to like have this experiment with my career. It does. And it has to be acknowledged, right? So there was a piece of it, like I had some savings. I had a partner who was willing to we were willing to tighten our belts a little bit. And for 2 or 3 years, I really did just that. I was out and about. I was doing press. I was writing a book. I was doing the podcast. I was trying to just like really experiment with everything I could that would light that creative fire. And eventually what happened for me about 3 years in is I just had to say like, this just isn't serving my financial needs in the way that I had hoped. And that was hard.
Yeah, let's talk about like having that come to Jesus moment
Yeah.
with yourself. Like, because some people are like, no, you just have to keep on going, even when all the signs are sort of pointing to maybe something else.
Else. I think there is a lot of chatter out there about like, entrepreneurs never quit, people never give up, people push through. And I just don't think that's real. I think that the people that are telling you that have a lot of privilege of their own. Maybe I would say if somebody's out there telling you to power through no matter what, you might want to read their receipts. Because it's
check
like
their history.
Yeah.
Because like, hold on.
Because you can go on the internet and say anything.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
So what happened for me, it really was kind of like a come to Jesus moment because my husband was out of town. I was like really struggling financially to make it work. And I really wanted it to work. And I just was like, this isn't working. And I'm tired of like having to hustle so
it's a
hard.
grind when you are stepping out on faith, trying something new. It is a grind.
Yeah.
And people don't talk about that also enough. It's like, okay, yeah, there's a reward.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But man, getting there.
And every vacation that we were on, everything we were doing, I was always on my phone trying to make content. Here we are, guys. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up, fam? Hey, here's what we're doing. And it was just like, I just really got tired of the grind. And it would be one thing to like do that grind and be making a ton of money. Maybe my willingness around it would have changed. But it just wasn't serving my financial needs. So I eventually just said, like, I think I have to go back to working a regular job, which hurt a little bit. But then I was like, whatever, millions of people like work regular jobs.
Right.
I'm allowed to change my mind.
Now you are allowed to change your mind. That is one of the themes for this year for me. It's been, I am fully allowed to change my mind. But that being said, though, how was that on your ego?
Oh.
Because, when you walk away and the people at the city were like, girl, you crazy.
Yeah.
You have no idea. This is nuts, right? And you're like, no, I got this. Thank you. I love you. Bye-bye. Right?
Yeah.
And then you come, I don't know, maybe you go back to that job or just in general, people talk. Humans are humans,
Yes.
right? We've all done the little bit of gossiping, the side eye, like, told her or whatever. How was that coming to that decision, like for your ego and like whatever you thought other people were going to say?
I really had to set my ego and pride aside and go, you know what? It doesn't really matter. Like my mantra just became like, set aside everything I think I know about what other people think of me. Mm-hmm. Because I had to make a choice that was going to serve my future. And it didn't really matter if it was like, oh, I have to go crawling back to this. And it's like, that's a story that I'm creating in my mind, crawling back to something, And what happened for me was I made this decision to kind of step aside from the Heidi B entrepreneurial world that I had built. Mm-hmm. And it was hard. And I did cry and I went to therapy and I talked about it being a failure. And that was really, honestly, challenging because I wanted to acknowledge that it had not been a financial success. And people in my life kept being like, oh, but it's not a failure. You did good. You did all this. Right. But I was like, no, this was a spectacular financial failure, right? Like this was not.
Talk about being like really
right?
hardcore with yourself.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you had to look at it in order to accept it.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think if I hadn't been honest with myself about how it had really panned out, I wouldn't have been willing to walk away from it. And I had to, because I had stuff I had to do. I had the bills that I had to pay. I have family I had to take care of. I have financial commitments. So I was like, I need to do something else. And so literally within 2 months of having had that kind of moment with myself and starting to get really honest about what it took, I had a friend come to me and offer me a sales job. job that was was such a great little adventure to be on, right?
Okay.
And so I did that for 18 months, and then that position got eliminated, and then I was like, oh, well, maybe I'll try some real estate, and I did that for a while, and then
no, don't skip over to real estate, because I remember that. I remember being on Instagram, and I'm like, wait a minute, it hasn't been that long since I connected with Heidi. Like, she's in real estate now and going full. Look, I will say one thing about you, girl. Anything that you decide that you're going to do, you go all the way in.
Yes.
And I mean, it was Heidi B, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate. Everywhere I looked, real estate, real estate. You almost had me wanting to buy a house. And I know I'm not in the market. But that's how, that's just a testament to you. When you do say you're going to do something, you don't go in there half-heartedly.
Well, that's really sweet. And I think that's important. That is important when you're thinking, if you're considering an entrepreneurial journey or trying something new, there is something to, what do I need to do here? Being honest with ourselves is important. Do I need to keep this corporate job and just do this writing on the weekend, or this content creation on the weekend, or this, or do I really need to go all in? And if you decide you're going all in, you do have to go all in, right? Because even if you think, oh, I'll just do this thing, but I'll also DoorDash or whatever, it's like, you're going to have to DoorDash 30 hours a week in order to make the kind of money you need, right? It's like we have sometimes we are not honest with ourselves about what it takes to keep our life afloat in order to also pursue something creative.
But don't we also sort of need the balance of that optimism? I can do this and this, and we'll see how, otherwise, if we were always 100% practical, we probably wouldn't step out.
No, I agree. We do. I think we do have to have that that kind of joy of the experiment. Can I try this? Can I be disciplined about working this 9 to 5, and then disciplined about my creative time, right? Because that's the thing that we let slide when we're doing both. It's like, oh, I'm tired from work, I'm just gonna watch this thing on Netflix. It's like,
oh, girl, you read my mind. That is my favorite way to chill out. It's like, you know what? I can't. I just don't have the energy for anything. As I'm picking up the remote, I don't have the energy to do another thing.
What's on? What episode of You am I watching?
Absolutely. I'm binge. I will binge until I look up, and now my pile of things to do is like this because I've just been neglecting it. But that's another situation and conversation.
That is the thing, is that it's if you decide that doing both at once is the way that you have to do it, which a lot of people have to do it that way, it's we have to be disciplined then about saving that space, carving out that space for whatever the passion project is.
Yeah, for sure. The balance has got to be there, and the focus and the discipline and all the things.
It's not easy.
It's not easy. And this is why we're having a whole conversation about it, because so many people later in life are like, I'm not really happy doing what I'm doing anymore. I want to make a change, but it's so scary. And so here we are, back to your story. So real estate.
Oh,
take us from
yes. Okay. So then I had, so then the last couple of years have been a journey through a software sales job that I loved, and helping a startup, and then dipping my toe into real estate. And then the real kind of leveling of my ego and pride came when real estate was kind of slow. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I found myself back in the place where I had with my business. And I'm like, I need to find something else. And so I actually called a boss that I had worked for 10 years ago. And I said, the runway to real estate is a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. Do you have a space on your team at all? And if you do, would you talk to me about working there? And he was like, I've always got a spot for you. You can start on Monday. What? Right? So sometimes when we are willing to level our ego and pride and go back to something that we thought we've outgrown, the gift is right there, But it was all about that kind of really honest conversation with myself about what my needs actually are. So even though this sounds like a Heidi B story time, what I really
this is your story.
What it really is, though, it has, for me, the journey of my career for the last 10 years has been about being honest and remembering that I'm allowed to change my mind, and remembering that even a decision to leave the safety of corporate doesn't mean I can't come back to it.
That is true, but that's that part that a lot of people struggle with the ego piece, where it feels like you have to come crawling back, like whatever it is that you thought you were going to be so great at didn't work out, and people can just be so mean, right? But it sounds like you left in a way, all the things aligned, right? You left in a way that was really comfortable for you and for your former employers and colleagues, right? No bad blood or anything. You went out, you tried the thing, and then you came back and told the truth. Because I think that's another piece of this that people need to understand also. You need to be honest, not only with yourself, but be honest in your community.
I think
and
so.
in your space. Hey, it's like you said, hey, what did you call the runway to real estate is a lot longer than I thought. owning up and actually saying like, hey, instead of making up something like, you know how people do, like,
Yes.
Real estate or something, it's great.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's like, no, it wasn't great. It's not great. I'm not great. I need some help.
It is hella hard out there. I think, one thing I will say too is that reminds me of something that I did want to talk about, especially if you're thinking about changing careers in a more traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I work corporate over here at Corporation A, and I'm thinking like I might want to do something totally different or work for a different company. So maybe you're not leaving your corporate gig to go do your own thing.
Right.
I think it's so important to think about the types of projects that you like. So in this journey that I've been on in the last couple of years, what I discovered is your girl's a sprinter. I love seeing a return on investment within 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay.
I need to get that dopamine hit. Either the project needs to be done in 2 to 4 weeks, the client
Microwave
needs to be
or air
signed.
fryer situation, not oven. We're not cooking long-term meals here. We want it done and done. Okay, I get it.
That's for me. That's for me. But it's an important thing to think about as you're navigating career and change and stuff like that. It's like, okay, do I want to be somebody who works on long-term projects? Do I really love seeing something from the conception all the way to fruition, maybe a year-long timeline? Or am I somebody who really appreciates those 2-week, 4-week, 6-week wins? I'm like, 6 weeks, oh God. But, so that was something that I learned about myself, was that like, I thought that I was somebody who was a marathoner when it came to that kind of like dopamine hit from a project. But it turns out I am a sprinter. I like to get it done quick and on to the next, But I wouldn't have learned that if I hadn't done some time in real estate.
I think that is a really key concept that people need to grasp. It's like, okay, since you're making this decision later in life, hopefully you have learned a little bit more about yourself, right? And you have to be honest with yourself.
Yes.
Like, here, I'm going to share something with you. So I have decided that at some point in the near-ish future, I want to do more work behind the camera.
Ooh, yeah.
As opposed to being in front of the camera. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy this, but I am, come on now.
Yeah.
After a while, it gets a little bit, I love the makeup and the glam, but I don't like taking it off. I don't like feeling like, there's a certain aspects of this part, I'm kind of like a regular-ish type of person in real life, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm like, there's something about still loving to a set, but I can show up as the boss.
Yeah.
And show up and just kind of oversee and see what's happening behind the scenes, look through a couple lenses, make sure my team's doing what they have to do, and then I'm out.
Executive producer. Yes,
That's exactly
I
it.
love
And
this.
so I have decided that I'm going to be moving more into the executive producing space because I know myself now. It is a risk, right? Like, that means I'm going to be the money person.
Yeah.
That means I either better have it or I better figure out how to get it, right? But like, it's part of growing and knowing what do you enjoy?
Yeah.
I think that's part of the whole later in life thing. It's like, what do you really enjoy? And like, I totally see that for you.
Yeah.
The whole, okay, I come in, I'm going to do like bang, 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 and then I'm out on to the next project.
Yeah.
Like you can still maybe work for the same company or whatever, as long as the fit is something where it's not long, drag out, taking forever, got it,
Yes.
Or like maybe people realize later in life, I'm not really the people person.
Yes.
I either was or thought I was.
Yes.
So now I think I want to transition into something else where maybe I am more on the solo side of it.
Well, and I think that's a great point too, which is that of course, like we grow over the course of our lifetime. So why wouldn't we grow and change over the course of our career? So yes, as a 20-something for their first job, who's doing outdoor, outside sales, going door to door, they are a people person, right? But by the time they're 40, they may be like, I'm done with people. I would like to be doing accounting or something, whatever it is. So I do think there's just so much, I guess at the end of the day, the thing that's so important to me is that we just give ourselves the space to experiment and explore. And just to remember, like, nothing is permanent. You can always change your mind, especially if you're not burning any bridges. When you're out there looking for, more traditional work, you got to be telling everybody about, actually, no matter what, you got to be telling everybody about what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're an entrepreneur, if you're an entrepreneur, everyone needs to know what it is that you sell, who you serve, that kind of stuff. But if you're looking for work, everyone in your sphere needs to know, oh yeah, she's looking for a new thing. She wants to move into accounting. Do I know any accountants? Who could I connect her with, right? So you need to be talking to people. And the one other thing that is a little bit of a non sequitur, a little bit of a left turn from what we've been talking about, but is important. If you are a person of a certain age, I can guarantee you do not know how to use LinkedIn. You need to find somebody.
Who are you talking to? I may or may not be on LinkedIn, and I may or may not have checked it in about 12 years.
So LinkedIn is a very powerful tool for making those corporate to corporate moves.
Oh, so we have to get all technically savvy again if you're not?
I think so. I think if you are looking to go corporate to corporate, if you're looking to go, if you're kind of trying to stay on a more traditional path, but you want something new, I guarantee you're using LinkedIn wrong. It is worth either connecting with a recruiter. These, recruiters know how to use LinkedIn. They can help you optimize it. It will just be so much easier if you are using it correctly, as opposed to just being like, I'm on LinkedIn. It's like, that's not enough. That's what I found out. That is a nugget.
You have shamed me, girl. You have shamed me. You really spoke right into my whole non-technological
I did look straight
spirit.
at the camera when I said it.
I know, girl, but you know what? This is exactly why you're here, because you keep it straight up, no chaser, which is what I love about you, and I love your spirit, and I appreciate the fact that you are always willing to come on and impart some sort of encouragement, empowerment, and just a bunch of liveliness, right? to any situation for a conversation. Heidi B, you know I love you. And I appreciate you dearly, and thank you so much for coming on today.
Oh, my treat. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Welcome back to Situations and Conversations. We're out and about with my girl, Besa Gordon. Check out her interview with Dr. Robin Beavers, VP of Community and Social Impact for the Portland Timbers. Dr. Beavers discusses her role in using soccer to uplift the Portland community and her focus on diversity and inclusion. She emphasizes the importance of everyone contributing to the community and getting the players involved in outreach.
Hi, my name is Dr. Robin Beavers. I am the VP for Community and Social Impact for the Portland Timbers and the Thorns, and welcome to our house. My job is basically to be out in the community promoting soccer or using soccer to help uplift the city. Also in charge of our diversity, equity, and inclusion work that we do here at the club. The owner gave me the opportunity to use this platform to go out and work in the community. And I am born and raised here in Portland, third generation Oregonian. My parents raised me and my sisters here, had a great childhood. I want everyone else to have an amazing childhood as well as just an amazing time while they're here in Portland. I mean, this is the city that raised me and I love it. And we've gone through so much since the pandemic. All the racial turmoil, not that we ain't always had racial issues, but it's just highlighted during the pandemic. The riots, just the city is just tore up. And so to be able to come here and use this and kind of put out there some positive energy, that's why I work here, because they gave me the platform to do so. The people that are serving their communities, they know what they're doing, they know how to serve, but they don't necessarily have the capacity to serve in the way in which to really help and uplift the people that they're working with. So to be able to use this platform, and whether it's donation dollars, donation items, whether it's taking volunteers or players out to their organizations, so that they can be amongst those who they serve. Like that, to me, is like the equity and inclusion work. You go and do those in those marginalized communities. When all these people are in this stadium, they cheering for one team, one team. My thing is, if you can take all that same energy, y'all all together cheering for the team, and take that out into the streets and try to make the communities better, man, that would be amazing. The way that I get players involved is I try to take them to communities that they can relate to, which I don't think anyone who's ever been in this position has ever been able to do. More so because they weren't from here and didn't have those trusted relationships.
First and foremost, you're dope.
No!
I was literally sitting there and just nodding my head, cackling, but also just really feeling what you were saying. Like, you really love what you do.
I do.
Like, it's not like you're just doing it because you get paid to do it. Like, you genuinely enjoy this. Like, it almost seems fulfilling for you.
So in 2017, I got a prophetic message, and it said, you're going to influence influencers.
If you could talk to 11-year-old self, what would you tell her right now in this place and what you're doing? And now that you're back at home. I mean, obviously you were here before, but now you're like fully planted.
Right. I would tell my 11-year-old self, don't forget my cousin / kind of god sister told me when I was little. She told me, because I'm dark skinned, she's like, man, your black is beautiful. And I would remind my 11-year-old self, don't you forget that. Don't let that stop you. There's all these stereotypes out there, but you live your purpose and you go do the work that God put you out here to do.
All right, family, that's our show for today. Thank you so much for hanging with us. I love and appreciate you for it. God willing, we'll be back next week for more. In the meantime, make sure you take excellent care of yourselves. That's the only way you'll be able to take care of anyone else, which is our mission. When you think me, think we. When you think you, think too. See ya. Sponsor, Oregon Health Authority, helping people and communities achieve optimum physical, mental, and social well-being. And thanks to Tabiba Styles. And thanks to our supporting partners, Louisa, a community-centered event space in the heart of Northeast Portland. And Adorn Boutique for my fabulous wardrobe. Situations and Conversations is a Trey Renee production in conjunction with Thomas Chung Films.